Check it out. I found wild soap. How do you get soap if you can't go to a store? Well, this root right here is the answer for natives in the Southwest historically. So this is kind of a dried, dead piece, but it demonstrates how big these get. This is the yucca root. The species right here is Yucca rupicola, or twisted leaf yucca. But any yucca species can be used this way, and it was by far the most popular source of soap for indigenous peoples of the Southwest historically. And even with the introduction of modern commercial soap, it was still preferred for washing wool and hair. The soap of yucca contains tons of saponins, which is just a plant compound which binds fats, and that's all that soap is really doing, just binding fats, stripping it away, and allowing you to wash it. You grab this root, you dig it up, and then you can peel it, but not really necessary, and then you pound it up with a rock, put it in some water, lather it up. It makes a magnificent soap. Very effective, very easy to do. The common trope I see in like apocalyptic movies is like everyone stinks because they don't have soap, but that's so inaccurate as far as primitive skills, because there's a lot of plants that can furnish soap. In fact, you can even use the leaves of yucca. This is a less destructive method to harvest soap. It doesn't quite have as much, but if you find some with some thick leaves especially, you can pound it up with a rock and lather it up in water, and it forms an excellent soap. And yucca had an insane amount of uses for indigenous peoples historically in the Southwest. Probably one of the most useful genera of plants. So I'll just cover a couple of main ones here. So they provide excellent cordage. So these leaves have these strong linear fibers, and they're easy to extract. So the outside of the leaves have this kind of microscopic saw teeth edge to them. So you strip those off with your fingernail first, and then you chew them up. That's at least my method. A lot of people want to pound it with the rocks or scrape it with a spoon or a butter knife, but I prefer to chew them up. And they do have a lot of those saponins in them, so you don't want to swallow your spit. And it's better if you boil it first, but you don't quite have to. Boiling just kind of gets rid of that saponins a little bit and makes it a little bit softer to chew. So I chew them up and take out the fibers, wash them off, and you have cordage or fibers that you can twist into cordage that's strong enough for a bowstring for sure. And these right here, these are the yucca stalks. They have the flowers at the top, and these are great for friction fire starting, both the hearth board and the spindle. So you can spin two pieces of yucca into each other and make a fire with nothing else. So incredibly useful for that. Like I mentioned, the soap earlier, and these have flowers that are cream and bell-shaped, and they're born in clusters, and those are actually edible. I don't recommend eating them raw so much. So you technically can, but they have a little bit of those remnant saponins in them, so I prefer to cook them. And if you batter and fry them, they make yucca flower fritters, which are absolutely delicious. But of course, anything you batter and fry is going to be absolutely delicious. And some species of yucca were known for eating the pulp, so they have pulpy fruits, and some were eaten green and whole, but the most important species by far for eating was datil, or Yucca baccata, which we don't have in my area, unfortunately. And these don't have quite edible fruits. They're pretty dry and dehiscent, but a useful species if it's in your area. And of course, the leaves were extremely useful for making basketry and just makeshift straps, and for cordage, just strip off a piece of this. And you can also use these tips, these needle tips for needles. You can actually strip off a needle with a cordage attached, and then use that for sewing up your moccasins in the field if you need to put on a new sole, like the Apache did.